Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of series 2 of the Life After podcast. Today I'm joined by a very special guest. I can't quite believe I'm here myself, to be fair, but I'd like to take a few time before we even start, Terry. Welcome, Terry Stone.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Cheers, mate.
I'm a little bit disappointed that I wasn't your fucking number one guest. You know what I mean? You brought me as the second one, I'm like the follow-up, you know what I mean?
We're only doing two episodes in this.
Oh, that's all right. Okay. I feel good then.
We'll bring that around and we'll save the best till last of it. Okay, so again, thank you for your time. And I'm gonna go over your life today, which has been a colourful one, to say the least. Going to the beginning in your early life, in terms of what you've achieved is quite remarkable, in all fairness, because I've read in places that you grew up on a council estate, led to believe, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but again, you wouldn't say you had a particularly privileged upbringing. Faced bullying,
right? Yeah.
Which then led you to get into boxing. Am I right?
Yeah.
How would you say, sort of making those decisions, are you getting into boxing and if you like channeling energy and stuff, has had a impact in the way that your life's gone?
Well, I think, when you talk about privilege, right? Some people would say privilege is having a roof over your head and food in your belly, you know what I mean? But if you actually look at, my parents both went to work. My nan had to bring me up because they were at work. Yeah. And we didn't have any money. The only holidays we went on was we maybe had a week at Pontins or a week in Butlins, or we might go down to...
Yours in the UK?
Cornwall, yeah, Bournemouth or whatever. And, it was nice to be able to go for a holiday. But I think when you're brought up in that environment, you don't think, oh, poor me, I've had a shit hand. But it was just like, you can't have that. I want him trainers. We can't afford it. So there was a lot of that sort of stuff going on. And, I think when you're... my dad was a big drinker. Okay. And that put me off drink, because I'd look at him and I'd just think, what a dick. He's sitting there fucking pissed up his head, drinking whiskey, fucking going to the pub, doing every night, you know what I mean? And even on the weekends, when the pub's shut, he's like, I'm drinking a bottle of whiskey. So he was a fuck up. And my mum, they'd have a rouse and he'd knock her about. And then, I think it was probably around 12 years of age, they sort of went their separate ways. Okay. And I remember the conversation. My mum actually said, she went, look, she said, me and your nan, you can stay with us or you can go with your dad. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I'm fucking obviously going to stay with you. I'm not going with that fucking retard, because he's just a fucking drunk. He's a bully. He's not a nice person. And I just thought, I can't, go, why would I go with somebody like that?
What was it like with you?
Well, it was just literally like, you walk around on eggshells. Sometimes it'd be a good laugh. Other times, like his discipline was fucking giving you a good hiding. Do you know what I mean? So if you did something wrong, or you get a good hiding, that was it.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
No. Okay. I have a half brother, which I found out when I was fucking 16. Right. But this is what I mean. My dad was a dog, right? And and you shouldn't really speak about your parents in a bad way. But he was, right? But the thing is, I'm grateful for that experience, because it made me realise that is not the fucking person I want to be. I don't want to be a drunk. I don't want to be a bum. I don't want to knock my wife around. I don't want to be that guy, right? So I think when you look back at it, I was grateful for that experience, even though people go, why would you fucking want to go through that? But I did go through it. But what it did was it made me realise, actually, when I have kids, when I get married, I'm not doing what you've done, right? So it was a how not to be a cunt, basically. Right?
To be a cunt.
But then, when you went to school, people would know that, you lived on the estate. People know you didn't have any money. People would laugh at your clothes, had to piss out your shoes, had to piss out your hair, and back then, like, everybody got it. So if you were black, if you were Chinese, if you were Indian, if you was Pakistani, if you was, a Catholic, a Christian, a Muslim, it didn't matter. Everybody got it, right? But what was good, looking back at that in hindsight, it made everybody resilient, right? So if someone come up to you and said, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that, you just tell them to fuck off. and you move on, right? And obviously, what happens now with the social media is obviously the bullying can be on another level now. But back then, I actually think if people send you silly messages on social media, right, you can just go, what a mud, right? It's always somebody with no picture, or it's someone who looks like they fucking should be in a mental asylum, or should be, or they're living at home with their mum. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody that's ever sent me any messages on social media that I look at and think, actually, this is somebody that I should pay attention to. So I think that if you give me a choice, would I prefer bullying in real life physically, where people are tormenting you, looking in your eyes, calling you whatever, or have some prick sending you a message on social media? I take social media all day long.
It's a funny story, but Palomar was telling me the other day, when he was a lot younger, he's a bit older than me, he's 50 now, but he was begging his mum for a pair of Farah trousers. Apparently they were the thing back
They
in
were
the
the
day.
thing, yeah.
And he managed to get a pair, again, she bought him a pair. He could tell they were second hand, and they'd come from a charity shop. So he's gone to school, and some fucking wanker's gone up to him. They were my fucking trousers, took the piss, done him in front of everyone. Right. And the geezer's a successful fucking businessman now. But he used that, like you've said there, he used that, I don't want to say spite, but he used that fire.
Well, the problem with people today, everybody, is falling into this victim mentality. And it's very easy, like, to go, poor me, I live in a council estate, poor me, I haven't got enough money, poor me, I'm fat, poor me, I'm skinny, poor me, I'm being bullied, or poor me, I can't go on holiday. But the thing is, right, and I've done this, right? So that is not an excuse, right? So I think what people have to do is they have to go, okay, where I am right now isn't the best place, it's shit. But actually, if I want to get out of this, I've got to do something positive. And just wallowing in fucking negativity and bullshit and listening to what people said to me on the estate, you're fucking div. You know what I mean? You're never going to go anywhere. And I was an academic. And the problem was my parents didn't basically say to me, Terry, you've got to fucking do your homework. You've got to learn this stuff. You've got to get qualifications. They let me just do whatever the fuck I want. So being a kid, I fucked about, right? And so, but the thing is, when they were younger, they fucked about. So the thing is, if you're, and people always say, if you're from a working class background or an underprivileged background, I think one of the funniest things that you hear is when people talk about, oh, it's all right for you, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, when I was getting bullied at school, it went from being verbal to physical, where people would just come up to you and smack you in the mouth or give you a little dig in the ribs, you know what I mean? Yeah. School was on an estate, so it was a rough school, right? So, you were with rough people, right, that enjoyed fighting and violence. And the older ones would always bully the younger ones. And I just got to the point where I just thought, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I tried judo, I didn't like it. Tried karate, it was boring. But I went to the boxing club and I walked in and I said, I'm going to learn a fight. And the guy looked at me and he goes, you can come here Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday. These are the times. And if you come here every day and watch for fucking an hour for 2 weeks, you can join. I was like, all right.
So you had to watch for how long?
For 3 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks. Yeah. But 3 times a week. So I had to go there because he wanted to make sure I was disciplined, that I'd turn up on time and stand there and watch. And then he knew that I was serious. Because he said so many kids come in and go and learn to fight. They have a week and they fuck off. So he said, I only want people that are going to fucking work. And what that taught me was discipline, respect, and it taught me how to fight and put my hands up. And the thing is, I'm not somebody who walks around saying I'm a big tough guy, but I learned it for self-defense. And if I've had to use it, I've always come out on top. But I'm not somebody who goes looking for it. I've never been one of these people that will get. I'm a happy drunk, right? Yeah. And I avoid conflicts and confrontation. But if it comes, I will have it. And the thing for me is, I've always had this thing where, I did it because I just got sick of being bullied. Just got sick of it. So I thought, you know what, fuck you, I'm going to bully you and say you like it. And that's what happened. And then people then stopped bullying me. And then, I had a reasonable amateur boxing career. I wasn't going to be Sugar Ray Leonard or Muhammad Ali, but I won 5 fights. I lost 3. I boxed in the Savage Schoolboys final. But what that taught, really, the boxing club for me was like my family, and the trainer was like my dad. And that's when you have
bit of a sanctuary.
When you have a fucked up childhood, you do end up thinking, well, actually, this guy wants me to win. He wants me to train. He doesn't want me to fuck about. And I think boys need discipline.
Agreed.
I don't know about girls, right? But I've got a girl. But I don't know whether the girls need as much discipline as the boys. But I think that boys need and there's all this stuff now. And this, if you talk about present day, where people are saying, you know, if you say a hurty word, they all get offended and upset. And you know, and you know, people need to get past this, you know what I mean? It's you know, people are going to say hurty words to you. People are going to say things to you that you don't agree with or you disagree with. And I've always thought, if your opinion is different to mine, I don't give a fuck. That's your opinion, right?
Exactly.
I'm not going to sit here and argue with you for 3 hours about my opinion's right, your opinion's wrong. If that's your opinion, fucking great. If you want to follow any religion, good luck to you. I don't give a fuck. I'm not interested. I don't follow religion. I believe there's a supreme being. And I've got friends that are Christians, you know, Catholics. I've got Jewish friends. I've got Muslim friends. And I've been to weddings. I've been to bar mitzvahs. I've been to their family events. And I appreciate their culture and I appreciate their religion. And I respect their cultures and religions. But I don't think that my belief is better than theirs. Do you know what I mean?
Do you not think that's what's going wrong in the UK at the minute in terms of there seems to be this, if you like, desire to force people?
What's going wrong in the world at the moment is that it's like, this is the way, and if you don't agree...
Snipers, by the way, will be okay.
No, but if you don't agree with this way, you're a far-right racist, or you're a fucking lefty, or you're a weirdo, or whatever. But the reality is, right, you know, common sense has to prevail at some point. And, you know, making people worried about hurty words. I mean, all the stuff they've done now where they've basically cancelled Christmas and they've said, look, you know, even though England is a Christian country, you can't really have, you know, you can't really say Happy Christmas because people might be offended. And, you know, if you look at the department stores, once upon a time, you go in there, there'd be all decorations, there'd be a little Santa's grotto. Now it's like, there's no grotto, there's no Santa, and it's like Christmas is cancelled.
It don't feel like Christmas anymore.
And the weird thing for me is, you know, I'm a very Christmas person, right? And you know, even if I, you know, was a different religion or a different race, Christmas is a thing that if you get it, it's a special time of the year. And the thing for me is, like, what annoyed me like the most was when my kids were at school. And I'm talking about 9-year-olds. I'm not talking about fucking 15-year-olds. 9-year-olds are going, Santa's a load of bollocks. It's your mum and dad. And just fucking ruining Christmas for everybody. And it just fucked me off because I just thought, you know, let kids have that magical thing. But as soon as they get to an age where they know it's bollocks, then when they're 12, 13, just go, look, yeah, it is bollocks. It is me.
But though, aren't you? Like, families used to get together, everyone round each other's houses, and it's just a bit like a non-event now, like you say.
But the problem is, right, there's all these different things, right, that there's like a narrative where it's like you've got to, you know, do this, you've got to do that, you can't say this, you can't say that. So what happens is the kids that are growing up now don't actually know what they're allowed to do or what they're allowed to say, and they're being told, you might be a boy or you might be a girl, and they're going, and when I was a kid, when I was like 5, I used to wear my mum's high heels. I used to put her glasses on. I used to put her jewellery on and walk around the house. But that wasn't because I thought I was a woman trapped in a man's body. It was just because it was fun, right? But if someone had said to me as a 5-year-old, you know, you could be a woman trapped in a... I might have turned around and gone, well, do you know what? Maybe I am. And the thing is, like, kids will have different things. As they grow up, they might fancy the opposite sex. They might fancy their own sex. They might have these things. They might experiment, right? But they've got to be allowed to do what they do, not be force-fed it, saying, oh, you could be this and you could be that. Because as a kid, you go, maybe I am, right? So I think all of this stuff is let them experiment. I mean, look, we experimented. We used to go out. We used to climb trees. Can you imagine now climbing a tree? I mean, yeah, you wouldn't be allowed. Can't even play conkers at school. It's like everybody's wrapped in this cotton wool and everybody's like offended by everything. And you just sort of think, you know, this isn't really any way to live because the kids have all got, you know, there's a massive spike in mental health issues with kids. There's a massive spike with depression, anxiety. Where's it all coming from? It's because people are either being given all these rules that they're thinking, well, how do I follow these? And then they're going home to their parents and going, I've got all these rules, and the parents are either going, oh yeah, you got to follow the rules, or they're going, it's a load of bollocks. So then the kids are going, so you're saying it's a load of bollocks, but the school's saying that this is what I've got to do. And then there's other people pressuring them, and it's like, I feel sorry for the kids now growing up, because the pressures they're under, they've got to look good. When they're on social media, they think it's real. So when they see someone posting, standing next to a Ferrari, oh, that's a Ferrari. No, it's not. They've just stood next to it, right? If you really have got a Ferrari, why would you be on social media going, look at my Ferrari? You don't need to do that.
Well, my lad's here today, as you know. And,
has he got his Ferrari?
I don't want to see you in them high heels at the weekend, all right? Yeah, just letting you know. No, you are right.
But genuinely, it is bad. And people, like my daughter, she's started to look at social media. She's 11, and she started to get into all these different things. And she said to me, she said, Dad, starts talking about beauty products. And we was somewhere, 11, right? Yeah, so we're somewhere, and she goes, Dad, is there a Sephora there? I went, yeah. She goes, Sephora. Can we go? Yeah. And there's that song in there. Yeah. Daddy, take me to Sephora. So I've gone in this Sephora thing, and the shop assistant's come up, I can help you. And she goes, oh yeah, I want the serum for this, and the beauty product for this, and the mask for this, and all that. And you saw the woman just look at her like, who the fuck's this? Do you know what I mean? Where's she come from?
In a mink coat.
And I actually said to my daughter when we left, I said, do you know all this stuff? She said, oh, it's, all the girls at my school talk about beauty and, and all this stuff. And you sort of think, wow, my daughters, and you think if the kids at 11 are being obsessed with beauty products, they don't need serums and moisturisers and, the preventative. When they're 30, they need it. But then if you look at a lot of the kids now, and when I say kids, I'm talking about 18 and 25s, still getting Botox, still getting fillers. They don't need them. Yeah, but it's like, it just seems to be that these trends, and I think, like, when we just had a phone at home and there was no mobiles and there was no social media, people that are watching this probably will go like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's all we know. But back then, it was so much easier and so much simpler, and people would have their own identities. But it seems now that people are being told, this is how you have to, you can identify as whatever you want, but you have to follow these rules.
It's like Ken and Barbie, almost, sort of like you've got to duplicate.
But I listen to some of this stuff, and I do actually think if I was a kid growing up, I'd have fucking anxiety and mental health issues, because I wouldn't be able to process all this shit all the time. It's like one day this is okay, the next day this is wrong, and this person's this and this person's that. And you're sitting there and you're going, well, because there's so much noise, how do you cut through the noise and get to the stuff that's important? And that's what I always say to my kids, forget the noise, forget the fucking bullshit, Focus on, if you want to be a fireman, or if you want to be a singer, or you want to be an actor, or you want to be a fucking mathematician, just focus on that. And the rest of it, you can acknowledge it, but don't buy into it. Because if you buy into this bullshit and you actually start living it and experiencing it, you just go round and round in circles. I mean, there's people on the internet that just sit there every day going on about, the earth's flat, we're in a fucking, a simulation and all this stuff, right? And you think, well, maybe we are. But the thing is, that's their life. They whatever happens, there's a conspiracy theory behind it.
It's like this final boss lad who's fucking walked round a corner with a pair of shades on with his teeth out, and all of a sudden, he's everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And
do you know what that is? That when I saw that, it made me laugh, because when I see it come up, final boss, I just laughed, and that's why it was whoever took that picture of that guy. He's got to track them down and give him some money, because they made his career
big time. Okay, so moving on. I want to talk about the rave scene, if that's all right. Obviously, led to believe you went from sort of giving out leaflets to holding some of the biggest sort of events going, in terms of sort of like One Nation, Garage Nation, right? Just talk to me about those days, mate, because I think that's where the name Turbo Terry came from.
No, so when I was so my mum and dad, when they split up, obviously I moved in with my mum and dad, and then my mum ended up moving this guy in who was even worse than my dad, and it was like, mum, you really don't know how to pick. She's picked someone good now, but she did pick a few wrong ones early on. So we went from like the frying pan into the fire. And that was probably an even more miserable time. But when I left school, I was 16. I fucked all my qualifications up. I got grade 5 CSE. So if anybody knows I don't even think they do CSEs now.
No,
but
no.
it was basically if you couldn't do an O level or what's known as a GCSE,
O levels.
the daft people that you know were non-academic would do the CSEs. So the CSEs were lower than the GCSEs. I got the lowest grade in every single thing. Yeah. I think one of the comments on the report was you must try harder. But you know, I think as a kid, you know, I put it down to the parental. There was no parental guidance. There was nobody saying, "Stop being a cunt. You got to fucking work. Make sure you fucking do your own work. You got to get these fucking because you ain't gonna have a fucking job."
Well, at that point, did you just have your mum and your nan as a?
Yeah, and you know, my mum was at work, and my nan was. I mean, she was lovely, right? But again, you know, if you're not switched on to what you need to do to achieve, and look now, you know, lots of people are saying if you don't have a degree, we're not even going to fucking talk to you. So there's millions of people with fucking degrees, but there's not millions of jobs. So it's gone like back in the day. If you had a degree, you were like a fucking genius. You know, you were guaranteed a good job. Yeah. But I think the problem I had was I left school. I didn't enjoy school. I hated the teachers. I wasn't happy at home. I just wanted to earn money. So that's my first job was in McDonald's. And then I ended up joining the Navy, which was a fucking disaster because I went for the Marines, realised I didn't like heights. So then it was like, well, I do want to join something. And then they went, oh, well, the Navy will have you. So I joined the Navy, realised when I joined the Navy that I couldn't do the job that I joined for because I was colourblind. So I was like, fuck's sake, you know, what am I going to do? And then they were like, you can be a fucking steward or a fucking cook or something. And I was like, I don't want to be a fucking steward or a cook. I want to do something fun. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, you know, that's it. So I thought, you know what, I need to get out of this. So I remember ringing my mum and saying, Mum, can you buy me out? I need to get out of here. And she was like, I ain't got any money. And I was like, oh, fuck. So
how long have you been in?
I only joined the basic training. So I was 2 weeks into the basic training. I thought, I don't want to complete this because you sign up for 22 years. I need to get out. Right, so I thought, how do I get out of this? Yeah. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to fuck about and be a nuisance, which is what I did, and I'm quite good at that. So I got basically, they tortured me for 2 weeks, right? Because they thought, you know,
they knew what you were up to.
Well, yeah, they thought we're going to torture this camp. So they would give me, I was cleaning toilets with a toothbrush, watering things with little watering cans.
Fuck.
They just drove me mad. And I just kept like fucking about. Yeah. And one night the guy said to me, he said, in a minute, he said, me and you're going to go for a walk, but you ain't going to fucking come back. I said, let's fucking go. Yeah. I said, me and you, let's fucking go. Like, because, you know, I was boxing. I'd have fucking smashed him to pieces. Yeah. So I was like, let's go. And then he was like, are you threatening me? I said, yeah, let's go. You want to fucking have it? Let's go. Yeah. And he was a bit like, fucking hell. Yeah. And then he went to his command officer, and the command officer got me in and said, like, you can't offer people out. I said, well, he's offering me out. Yeah. So I said, I don't want to be here, mate. I'm just going to fuck about.
Another bullet.
And he went, okay, well, it's time for you to go. And I went, great, get my stuff, fuck off. So that saved me 700 quid. But then I was like home thinking, oh, fuck, you know, my dream of joining, because I'd never been on holiday. So I thought if I join the Navy or the Marines or whatever, I can actually see a bit of the world. So I was back on the estate thinking, fuck me, what am I do now? And I didn't want to go back to working at McDonald's. So I went up the high street and there was a advert, orders, you know, TV department. So I went in there, got the job, learned about sales, done really well. And then I got headhunted and I got a company car, something like 17 and a half. Mobile phone, I mean, I absolutely cracked it. Right? I'm thinking, fuck me, I've done all right. Bloke off in the state with no qualifications, I've got a fucking salesman representative's job. And then the recession came, I think it was 88, 89. Yeah. We actually bought a house then. We lost the house and got put into emergency accommodation because of my nan, because she was like in her 80s. So if my nan hadn't been there, we'd have probably been in some fucking shelter somewhere. Yeah. So that saved us. And then I had a year of being on the dole, not having a job.
Lost.
And I was lost and I was thinking, fuck me, you know, what the fuck am I going to do now? And I think I was 18 and a half. And the answering your question about the name Turbo, right. When I was on the estate, hip hop became a big thing. And there was a movie called Breakdance the Movie. And that inspired everyone on the estate to get a bit of lino, a night jacket, and everyone wanted to do breakdancing. Right? Yeah. So we thought we were really cool. And we weren't. Yeah. We used to do breakdancing, and people used to go, "Oh, look, it's Turbo Terry. Look, fucking show us some moves." And it was
What was robots in and all
yeah,
that?
but it was because I was so fucking bad at it, and I used to get so angry. Like,
Do you think you were good though? And they were like, yeah, no.
I knew I wasn't any good. I'm not a dancer, you know what I mean? I'm not fucking, you know, I'm never going to be a dancer. Right? Even if I had dance lessons, I'm never. But I think as a kid,
Yeah.
you like the music, you got the thing, you got the line, everyone's having a go. And it was fun, right? So it was, you know, go to Bracknell, go to Reading, go to all these places with their little, they were these little stereos with the tapes.
So if Strictly give you a ring, you're not going to...
Well, look, they can give me a ring, but I'd probably win because I'll be the novelty contestant. People be voting for me. Please don't let him go. Just vote for him.
Let him go,
Let's just torture him for fucking weeks. But the Turbo Terry thing come out of that. And everyone used to go, and I used to have so many fights with people, I used to go fucking mad. Like, I go, who are you talking to? And
What, you done your head in?
no, because it was just like, you know, it's like at school, people would say stuff, right, about your clothes or about your appearance or you ain't got any money. But when you're a little bit older,
Yeah.
and then people go, oh, look, it's Turbo Terry, you'd be like, who are you talking to, mate?
Yeah.
And this was going on till, you know, I couldn't shake it off. So I was either Terry Turbo or Turbo Terry. Turbo Terry was the thing that used to wind me up. I'd go, show us some moves, Turbo Terry.
So in the corridor.
So I ended up having loads of punch ups with people because I used to just lose my temper. Then when I think I was 18 and a half, and everyone kept going about the rave scene, and I think 88, 89 was when it all started off. And all my mates were going out. Everyone was taking ease. Everyone was fucking partying.
Black bomber jackets, all that.
And I looked at the thing online and I was like, fucking hell, people are dying on ecstasy. Why would you want to go to a rave and do that? No. And then people kept going, why don't you come? And I was like, look, mate, I don't want to fucking... And my thing was nightclubs, pints, women, kebab, home. Do you know what I mean? So that was...
Was that around like the Leah Betts kind of time?
That was 10 years later.
That was 10 years.
I'm talking about the 80s.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So in the 80s, when you were 18, you know, it was... Wednesday was the student night. Thursday was the grab a granny night, which was the over 30s. Yeah. And then Friday and Saturday was just a party night. And, you know, you pay to go in a club and there'd be a dance floor and people would get pissed and they want to be dancing. And then they used to put on some slow records and you go up to a girl and say, do you want to dance? And they'd either go yes or fuck off. So it was one or the other. But it was a laugh. And that was my clubbing. That, you know, if you went clubbing, that's what you did. So... I enjoyed that. And then when people were going, oh, do you want to dance in the field and take drugs? And I was boxing, I was running half marathons. I was like, why would I want to do that? And then everyone kept going on and on and on about it. And then one day, my mate goes to me, I'm going to Stearns in Worthing. Okay. And I was like, oh, what's that? And he goes, it's a rave club. It's fucking Carl Cox is playing and Groove Rider and all that. I was like, oh, right, okay. So I've gone to this rave with him and I've walked in and the first thing that I saw was like 3,000 people. Now, bear in mind, when you look at these clubs, they were like a couple hundred people. They called them Sharon and Tracy nightclubs, right? People dancing around base, taking their shoes off. It wasn't a classy thing, right?
Yeah.
And you've gone from that to 3,000 people, mainly women, right? And everybody, even the blokes come up to go, right, mate, how you doing, mate? Sweet, yeah. The girls come up to go, come and have a dance with me. Do you want a drink? Do you want this? Do you want that? And I was like thinking, fuck me, this is like, I walked into a fucking alternative universe where all the girls chat you up, all the blokes want to be your mates. I thought, this is fucking a bit of me.
No hostility.
But I had again, I was on a dole, so I think we were getting like 30 quid a week. So I only went because my mate paid for me, right? But then when I had such a good time, when I left, I was like, fucking hell, I really want to come back. I want to do this again. Yeah. And then when I was leaving the club, there were some people giving out flyers. And I said, you know, I wouldn't mind doing this. And they was like, all right, sweet. You know, here's my number, give me a ring. So at the time, I had loads of mates that went raving. So he just said to me, he said, you know, I'll give you a tenner if you stand outside the clubs to give out flyers, and I'll get you in the club for free.
And you brought a following with you?
No. This is me. So you want to work for me? I'll give you £10 to stand outside the club and give out flyers. Yeah. Right? And I'll get you in the club for free. So I'm thinking, right, so I can get a tenner and I can get in the club for free, so I ain't got to pay 20 quid. So then I thought, and this is where the entrepreneur stuff starts, right? Because then I started thinking, if I bought 10 of my mates, can you get them in for free? Absolutely. So then I rung up all my mates going, listen, if you want to come to these clubs with me, VIP, it's on me, but you've got to give flyers out at the end and I'm going to get paid right? But you get them for free. And they were like, sweet. So then we started doing it. And then it just like, we was out Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So I've gone from earning like 30 quid a week on the dole to probably like 300 or 400 quid a week. And I'm going out having a fucking great time with my mates. Yeah. And I'm earning more than I would have if I'd been working in a normal job. So I then fell out with the people that employed me because they said I wasn't outside of club flying when I was. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to set my own fucking company up and I'm going to tell your business. And they were like, yeah, all right, we've heard it all before. But then that's exactly what I did. Yeah. So it was obviously going to be called Turbo Promotions. Because I was still called Terry Turbo then.
Still embracing
it, and I just thought, look, I'm never going to shake this off.
Yeah.
So I just embrace it. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the bullying stuff. If you embrace it and you accept it, it can't hurt you. You know what I mean? If people call me Terry Turbo now, people can't go, Turbo, how you doing? And from back in the day, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And now I just smile. I don't get upset. But when I was a kid, I knew that they were referring to the fucking breakdancing. That's why I used to get the ump. But then I just thought, fuck it, I just call myself that. And there's so many rumours about why I was called it, but that's the actual truth. So, and then I did that for probably a year of doing my own business, built it up, and it was earning really good money. I can't remember exactly how much, but it was really good. And then someone said to me, and at the time I was reading Mad magazine and Viz magazine. And I just thought, there's not really a funny rave magazine. So I set up a funny rave magazine called The Scene. And I went and told the promoter and said, I'm giving out your flyers. We put an advert in the magazine. And we then said to a few DJs, do you want to do a few articles? At the time, I become friendly with a celebrity gangster called Dave Courtney. And he actually said to me, he said, I'll write a fucking thing for you. So he wrote Dodgy Dave's rave page. So we had him doing a double page spread every month. Yeah. We had some DJs doing some stuff. We had a couple of ravers that used to go and do the reviews. And then we used to just do funny shit. So we say to people, you know, we're going to do a new page called Mate in the State. So we said, send us your pictures of your mates when they're fucked up. So you had pictures of people like throwing up. You had people like going like that, putting all funny faces, all like, and you get like fucking hundreds of these pictures, and we pick the best ones and put them in a magazine, and people be like ringing us up going, you can't, why are you putting that in a magazine? It's like, well, your friend sent it in. I mean, obviously now we'd have probably got sued, but back then it was fun, do you know what I mean? And everyone quite like that.
You do sound like someone who's not really, you know, you don't take yourself too seriously, and you like to have a laugh. And
look, if people that take themselves too seriously, you know, there's no longevity in it. You know, you can take yourself too seriously. You can be all uptight. You can let everything affect you, and all it's going to do is give you mental health issues, and it's going to make you, you know, because somebody said to me, this guy is like one of the top lawyers probably in the world, right? And me and him do a few bits together, and he writes scripts, and we've been friends. You know, a lot of people say he's your brother from another mother, but he actually said to me, he said, you know what? He said, you just don't give a fuck, do you? I went, no. You know, because it's sort of like, you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, right? Yeah. And you can worry about what if this happens, what if that happens, you know what I mean? But, you know, there's no possible point of worrying about it. If it happens, deal with it. If it doesn't happen, don't worry about it. Because you know, you can just sit here all day. If you're sitting on your phone just looking at all this shit on social media, all the negativity, reading the paper, looking at the news, you could just drive yourself fucking mad where you're going, oh, we're going to have World War III, you know, the world's going to end, Iran's going to nuke everybody, you know, Putin's going to kill everybody, you know, and it's just like, you know, if they do that, they do it. Like, you know, if Putin decides he's going to blow us all up, we can't do anything about it. No. We'll probably blow them up as well, but as us, we can't stop that happening. So there's no point in worrying about shit you can't control. Do you know what I mean?
Said to me, imagine being on your deathbed and thinking about all the shit that you're worried about that never happened, and all the fucking energy you've used doing it.
But there's a good friend of mine called Tom Smith, right? Okay. And I met him through a PR guy, and he said, "Look, I really want to get into movies." And I said, "What do you do?" And he said, "I'm a mentor." And I said, what does that mean? He goes, "I mentor people and I help them achieve greatness." And he worked with Grant Cardone, right? So he's a Grant Cardone disciple, and he's basically applied. And what's great is he's a fucking kid from Belfast, right? Yeah. And he grew up in the Troubles. I mean, you know, he's had to go through it, right? He's seen his mates killed and blown up and all sorts of shit. But then he said to me, he said, like, I had the worst hand ever And he said, and I've got into this positivity and he's doing this and doing that. He's now made so much money. He's like a multi-millionaire. And he actually said, his thing is only concentrate on positives. And he said, if you wake up in the morning, you say, I'm going to have a great day, and you walk around saying, if it's going to come my way, he said, you just got to believe that, people said to me when I said I'm going to when I was doing the flyers, and then I did the magazine, then I thought, well, there's nobody selling tickets where I lived.
You saw the gaps.
So I'll do tickets. Yeah. So I started selling tickets. And then I thought, you know what? Someone said to me, and this has happened throughout my life, people always, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, but sometimes people say stuff to you and it's from the universe, right? So someone come up to me and went, oh, you're doing the flyers, you're doing a magazine, you're doing the tickets, but you do a fucking rave.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's pretty fucking obvious. I should be doing a rave, right? But the thing is, I never had that thought. But somebody else had that thought and told me. Now, I could have just listened to that and gone, no, I'm not doing that. I'll just stick with what I'm doing. But I thought, actually, that's an interesting idea. And I think sometimes the universe will get people to say things to you, or there'll be opportunities that pop up. It's very easy to say no. Very easy to say, I don't know anything about promoting. It's a risk, right? But I just thought, fuck it. I'm living in the council estate with my mum, right? I'm earning a good living doing the flyers and the tickets and the magazine. Why don't I try and do a rave? And I did a rave. The first one broke even. The second one made money. And the rest is history. Yeah. But the thing is, if that guy never said to me, have a go.
Yeah.
And I never had the balls to go, yeah, fuck it, I'll have a go. And the thing is, this applies to all people that are working class, that are struggling.
Do you remember who that was?
No.
Who told you to have a go? No?
Can't remember. But it was somebody that was one of my mates, right? Yeah. But the thing is, anybody on any estate, if they put their mind to it, and they don't mind, you can make, with social media now, right? You can just go online and just talk bollocks, or do silly shit and become a fucking social media star, right?
Fucking mad.
But he's on holiday minding his own business, and now he's blowing up, right? Yeah. So that's how easy it is to become famous, to make money, right?
Yeah.
So now when people go, oh, it's so hard, I know what to do. It's like, everyone's got a fucking phone with a camera on, right? Everyone's got social media. Go on there and just walk around and just talk, right? People like watching people's lives. So even if you've got nothing going on in your life, even if you just walk around the estate going, oh, I'm on my estate, I'm going to get my dole money today. Look at that dog. That dog's just shit there. People watch it and laugh and go, fuck me, this is actually quite funny, right? And then, people say, have you seen this fucking geezer on this estate? Like, talking about his life and how shit it is. But people will that's why reality TV is so big, right? Yeah. So nobody in this you can sing, right? If you can sing, you can fucking go on TikTok music, right? And you can make money from TikTok and they can be your fucking manager, your agent, and you can get paid for music on TikTok.
You'd be loaded with your dancing.
But my dancing, mate, if you'd have put my dancing, if I'd have actually filmed it and put it on TikTok, it would have millions of views. And people would be going, that is the worst fucking breakdancing. Don't give up your fucking day job. But when you look at it like that, you do just think, all of this stuff. It is mad. But the thing is, you have to have a go, and you have to, don't listen to bullshit, don't give up, right? Very easy. It's so easy to just literally sit here and go, I'm going to do this. And then go, actually, do you know what? It's fucking pretty hard. Well, of course it's fucking hard. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
It's a good point you make there, though. So as a kid, now, I mean, I'm not 17, 18, coming out of school. Do I do the academic piece, or do I try and be a bit of a twat on social media? There's ways and means of making money in both.
I think the problem with social media is you don't know how long it's going to last, right? Mm-hmm. And today, like, the final boss is hot shit, right? Tomorrow, it's like, who the fuck's that geezer, right?
Yeah.
Because because something else comes along. Yeah. It's like, people pop up. Actors really, like, massively. Everyone loves that actor, and then someone else comes along, and it's like, well, what's happened to him? He ain't worked for 10 years, but that's just life. So I think if I was going to advise, and I've done this for my own kids, I always say to them, get the best qualifications you can. Work fucking hard. But really, all academia is learning shit, right? Sure. So there's a book, here's some fucking things, this is how this works, learn it, rehearse it like you're rehearsing a play. Someone says to you, what's the fucking square root of this? And you go, it's that. you know, as you get that, well, you know, you do this, you do that. How that gets you a fucking job or makes you earning money, I don't know. But the thing is, if you've got both, so I would, if someone said to me today, if you were 18 now, what would you advise yourself?
Yes.
I'd say don't fuck about at school, get the best qualifications you can. If you can afford to go to university, do it. But whatever your heart's telling you, follow your heart. Because you know, my oldest son, at 18, he didn't want to go to uni. He went, I'm not going to fucking uni, I'm going to go and work. I've got an idea, I want to make some money, I'm going to do some events. He's done it, he's cracked it. My other son, he's like, I want to go to university. So I always say to my kids, follow your heart, right, and do what you want to do. Because the thing is, like, I remember my son, my middle son, was a really good swimmer. And he was always coming first or second, right? So as you go through the school, other parents start getting competitive. So the kids then start beating him. And I was standing there one day and I was like going, you know, that's fucking great. Your son's beating my son, you know, he's swimming really well. Well, he should be. You know, he's got a personal trainer. We get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, we take him to the swim baths and all this. And I'm like, are you fucking for real? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they went, well, you know, he's got to win. And I said, yeah, but he's also got to be a kid and have a fucking life, right? Yeah. And I said, basically, you're just tormenting your fucking kids. I said, does he want to be a professional swimmer? No. Yeah. I said, well, that's like fucking stupid. And they were like, well, what? No, it's not. It's about winning. I went, listen, I said, you have a fucking nice life, but I'm not going to talk to you anymore because you're getting on my fucking nerves. And I actually said to my son that night, I said, if you want to beat these kids, this is what you got to do. Do you want to do it? And he went, no. He said, I have no interest in getting up at 6 in the morning and going swimming and going outside swimming on the weekends and having a personal trainer just so I can go, I come first. He said, I always try and come first, Dad. Yeah. I always put in 100%. But he said, I don't want to be a professional swimmer. He said, I'm doing this for fun. And the thing people need to understand is winning is important. And everything I do is about winning. I'm not interested in losing. Yeah. If you lose, if you come last in life, you get fuck all, right? So all these taking part's bollocks, right? Yeah. So anybody who says, oh, it's about taking part, it's not. It's about fucking having a go and giving it your best. Yeah. And if you don't come first, it doesn't matter because you've given it 100%. But it's the people that don't fucking try that fuck me off because I think, you know, you're just coasting through in life, expect everybody just to give you everything. And the world doesn't work like that. Picking up on the club stuff. Yeah. You know, when I started doing that, we were doing an event and then we'd have a break, then we'd do an event. And then other things, you know, other people come to me, do you want to do this, do you want to do that?
Was you still working as well?
I was still doing the flyers, the tickets, I was doing the magazine, I was putting events on. But then what happened was, it was mad because everything went through the roof. So it was like, you know, but if I hadn't have done the you know, getting up at fucking 5 in the morning and standing outside a fucking club, giving out bits of paper to people off their heads. Yeah, it's not really somewhere where people go, you know what, when I grow up, I want to do that. But I did it because I was earning money, right? Yeah. And then if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have done a magazine. If I hadn't have done a magazine, I wouldn't have done a ticket. So all the things that I did, all the donkey work, all the shit jobs, all the stuff that people go, why do you want to fucking do that? You know, it's like when I was unemployed and I got a bit of temporary work, I was a dustman for 3 weeks. I put fucking plastic bins together in a car park for a month. I used to do anything to earn money, right? Anything, right? And some people now would go, well, I'm not going to be a bin man. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to clean up the fucking shit. In McDonald's, you had to clean the fucking bins. You had to change the urinals and all the piss would go everywhere. I mean, you know, it is fucking like the pits, right? But the thing is, I did it, right? And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if I can do this, I can do anything. Do you know what I mean? If I can fucking clean a fucking bin in McDonald's, and then, you know, give out bits of paper to people at 6 in the morning, a lot of people go, I'm going to go to them party. I don't want to give out bits of paper. Or I'm not getting up at that time in the morning to give out, fuck it, I'll go and get a job. Absolutely fine. Some people are on this earth to go and get a job and work for the government or work in a shop or work in a business and be a manager or be an area manager or whatever they want to do. But I just don't think I was wired up that way. And the thing is, because I didn't take the traditional path, I think I'm qualified to actually say to people, if you haven't got the exam qualifications, if you haven't got, you know, a rich mummy and daddy to give you everything, and you've got to do it yourself, you can do it. You know what I mean? There's no secret to it. You just got to fucking be prepared to work hard and not give up. Right? And you are going to fuck up. You are going to get things wrong. If you do business, you are going to lose money. You are going to say, you know, the amount of things that I've looked at and gone, this is a fucking dead cert, and it's not worked out. You know, it's loads of times, but you know, you don't cry about it.
Well, it sounds like because your upbringing and your qualifications, you had no choice really, just to. But
the thing for me is, and this is, you know, I remember walking down from my estate to the town centre because I couldn't afford the bus, and I used to walk where all the big houses were, and I'd walk and go, I want one of them.
Yeah.
And again, when you talk to people about power of positivity, about visualising what you want, I was doing it then, but I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, I want one of them.
Manifesting almost.
How can I fucking get off there and go there? Do you know what I mean? But if I hadn't have had that in my head, and you know, all the people in the estate are like, what do you know about promoting? You know, you might lose money. And you know, everything I've ever done in my life, you have all these fucking experts that know fuck all, that basically tell you, no, shouldn't do it. It's a risk. What do you know? And I read it all through my life. You know, when I eventually, I won all the awards, I had all these like super brands in the clubs, and I got to 30. And it got really dangerous. You know, people were getting shot. You know, we had to have a proper security team with bulletproof vests, attack dogs. And I got to the point where I met my wife, and she'd never been to a rave. And she comes to a rave and she was like, you need to get another job. This isn't sustainable. And this is dangerous, right? And I was like, do you know what? I've been doing this. Because the danger thing didn't bother me. But the thing that resonated with me, she said, do you see yourself doing this when you're 40? And I was thinking, do I really want to be fucking in a nightclub till 6 a.m, up and down the country, dealing with, and it was like dealing with cunts, right? Every day. Definitely. You got people ringing you up, driving you mad. You got issues with this, issues with that. You got record shops run off for your money. So there was dramas all the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought, do you know something? I want to, if I sell now, I'm at the top.
Yeah.
And then I can do something else. And that's when I just made a decision to sell. And then, you know, the wife was happy because she was like, great, he's going to do something sensible now. And then out of the blue, I get a phone call from Dave Courtney saying, I'm making a film, do you want to be in it? And that was how I got into movies. And if he'd never made that call, RIP Dave, you know, thanks for that opportunity, I would never have got into movies. But again, I could have said, nah, it's not for me, mate. Do you know what I mean? But I thought, fuck it, what have I got to lose? Yes. But that's what I mean about the opportunities. Yeah. People get opportunities every day. And one of the biggest lessons in my life is, and my wife always says to me, oh, you know, you go to all these things, you know, you go to the opening of an envelope. Yeah. Right? But the thing is, the reality is this. When you go out, you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
You never know, you know, I could be hit in a pub now, meeting somebody who said, oh, we're having a drink or whatever. And then someone walks in and goes, I fucking love your podcast, or I love your films.
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you do? I run a hedge fund. Oh, fantastic. You know, blah, blah. Here's my number. Let's meet up. Let's see if we can do some business. Next thing, he's fucking invested in a film, or, you know, he might say to me, oh, come and I'm doing a charity event. You go to a charity event and then you sit next to a fucking billionaire. You never know who you're going to meet, where it's going to go. So for you to succeed in life, you have to be present, you have to go to places, and you have to obviously have something about you, right? You've got to make the effort and be polite. You've got to say hello to people. Yeah. You've got to be interested in people. Yeah. But, you know, you've also got to, you know, if you're not putting yourself out there, you're not open to opportunities. So you've got to put yourself out there.
Well, I messaged you on Instagram, and I was like, I told you, oh God, will he reply? Won't he reply?
The thing is that when you started sending me all them pictures you naked, I didn't like it. That's when I said, Bill, you know, please, just send me pictures with your clothes on.
So bad, Terry didn't like Big Billy. No, look, mate. Honestly, I was so grateful that you did reply, and you know we've chatted since. And
no, I like what you said you was doing with the podcast, and the mental health thing, as I said, is very important. But for me, the mental health thing, I think, you know, going back to that, my friend Tom Smith, who does the mentoring thing, his whole thing is about being positive and about having you know, if you wake up every day saying my life's shit, I've got nothing, poor me. It's like you're just going, give me some more, right? So you have to get up in the morning and say, my life's great. Today's going to be amazing. I'm really happy. I'm ready to fucking go. And the thing is, you can get up and do that every day, and you can have a shit day, right? but the thing is, you're setting the intention to have a great time. Yeah. And the thing is, I do it every day. And he actually sent me this great thing on YouTube. And and it's positive affirmations, and it's like this half an hour thing of this guy just talking and saying positive stuff, and it's like, if you listen to that, if you're on a tube, if you're on a bus, if you're in a car, if you're walking down the road, listen to it, right? And do it at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
If you go out for a walk, even if you can't afford a gym membership, go and have a fucking walk, put that on, and then have a go.
What's that called then? Sorry.
I'll get you the link. I can't remember what it's called because I've got the link and I just click on it.
Yeah. We'll drop it in.
But it's you know, people. I think the issues are people aren't told at school that they can be entrepreneurs. They're not told at school. Look, if you don't want to be an academic, if you don't want to go and work in a shop, if you don't want to go and work in a business and you want your own business, here's the tools, right? So they give them financial literacy. They tell them basically, here's some business tools if you want to have a go, right? So then people go, oh, so I can have a go at that. Absolutely. And now there's probably a social media bit because, you know, there's so many people that are so clever on social media where they can go out and do social media courses. They can get hired by people to run their social media.
Yeah.
You know, as I said, you know, there's so many opportunities now, but I just think people they're not open to the opportunities. They're just focused on what they haven't got and how bad their life is. But they've got to go, actually, I know I'm not in a great place now, but that's now. Yeah. If I actually make these changes and I actually push forward and I have a go, and look, you know, if you need money, go and work in Tesco's on a night shift. I've done that for a fucking month, right? Yeah. Stack the fucking shelves. There's always a job, right? So when you got these people sitting at home going, I'm on benefits because I can't get a job. You can get a job probably, but you actually don't want to fucking get.
You've made an interesting point there, Terry. Your upbringing. So if you like, very little direction in terms of discipline and sort of like, you will do this, you won't do that. Like your parents who are, you know, trying to train the Olympic swimmer, they tend to be the people that actually do all right because they've got to think for themselves. They've got to make that effort to.
People have to think for themselves. Mm-hmm. People have to put in a maximum effort, and people have to work like fucking dogs 24/7. If they all this talk about work-life balance is bullshit. Yeah. If you actually want to achieve anything in life, you've got to make, you know. I've made loads of sacrifices. You know, I've had to go to foreign countries. I've had to fucking, you know, leave my kids, you know, for a week or a month. I've had to go on film sets and do stuff. And, you know, when you're taken away from your family for a month or a week or whatever, you know, if you don't like your family, it's fucking probably great because you have a nice little break, right? But I actually love my family. So, so because I love my family, if I'm not around them, I do miss them. So for me, I always, you know, I think, you know, my kids are like, oh, Daddy's not here, you know, he's on a film set, and it all sounds fucking glamorous and cool, but for them it's not, because it's like they want their daddy. Well, they don't give a fuck about the film set.
That was one of the questions, Terry. You know, you know, in terms of your mental health, how is it when you're away for all that time? I know, like you say, it looks like you're away with the lads and you're having a fucking blast, but
I know I am away with the lads having a blast. But what it is genuinely, when you look at the stuff, when you're talking about mental health, you know, I do have days when I wake up in the morning and I go, I can't be fucking bothered to go to the gym. I don't want to fucking go on social media. I can't be bothered to do any posts. I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. I don't want to answer any phone calls. I don't want to meet anybody. But the thing is, when you feel like that, that's when you have to like smack yourself around the ear roll and say, stop being a cunt, go and have the meetings, go to the fucking gym. Because when you actually do it, you think, what was all that about? It was like your mind is fucking with you. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, it's so easy to like just fall into that poor me mentality, you know, oh, poor me, poor me. And the thing is, right, I had that, right? But I got out of it. And I didn't get out of it because I had a therapist or I had somebody telling me, this is what you have to do. I just realised that I had to work, right? If I sat on benefits, smoking pot all day, playing computer games, I'm probably never, ever going to get out of that cycle. And the thing is, I get why people, they're like there's people that are on benefits that genuinely can't work, and there's people that are on benefits that are disabled or they've had an injury. But there's a big percentage of them that are just going, well, actually, and I was in the doctors, right? And I'm sitting in the doctors, right? And there's two women, there's one there and one there, and they're both pregnant, right? And they're having a conversation across me, right? Oh, you know, when you're having your baby, I'm having it, in a couple of weeks. When are you having your baby? I'm having it next month. Oh, great. Have you got any more? Yeah, I've got, one here, two there. You still with a dad? No, different dads. Oh, yeah, me, I'm the same, blah, blah.
Yeah.
When you get 3 kids, you get a free house. And I'm sitting here thinking, I can't believe I'm actually fucking listening to this.
Yeah.
So you're actually just having kids from random people so you can get a fucking free house and benefits so you don't have to go to work. That, to me, is fucked up. Right?
Well, I told you I run a recruitment agency and a guy come to me once and he said, right, I need a job. I said, okay, right. Tell me your situation. On my benefits, we get a car, get the house, and £800 a month disposable income. I went, turned around, fuck off. I said, I can't do anything for you, mate. Since you're out of touch.
But I've had people, when I was doing the raves, and this is, now it's probably even worse.
Yeah.
But I had people saying to me then, like I'd have people giving out flyers for me, and I'd see something in someone, I'd go, do you know something? You're fucking really good.
Yeah.
So why don't you come work for me full time, right? Yeah. Nah. I'll pay for him 400 quid a week. No, mate, I'm actually going to be at a loss. I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, this is what I get. And you think that was in the fucking 90s. Now it's even worse. So you sort of think, we have become, in this country, a benefit culture. I think we've become lazy. There's a benefits culture. And there's also this thing about, there are people that suffer from mental health and there are people that need help, right? But there's also people that are playing that card, because you could quite easily say, you work for a company, you go, look, I'm suffering from mental health, I'm not going to work for a month. They can't then go, you're fucking fired. Yeah. Right, so some people are playing that card, and it's not fair for the people that genuinely are suffering.
We spoke about this the other week, and when I come for the phone, I thought, that's a really good point in terms of the people that, really do need the help, and they probably haven't got it in them to demand the help or go, help me kind of thing, because they're just beaten down. And then you've got these that are, they're playing it like you say, and it is, it's a huge issue.
Yeah, I think the only way that anybody can get out of a dark place is by, they've got to go to the gym, they've got to get outside, they've got to be positive, right?
Yeah.
Even if things are fucking terrible, I know. Look at Trump, right? Lots of people don't like Donald Trump. Lots of people do like Donald Trump. He's like one of them Marmite characters.
He is indeed.
But what's interesting about President Trump is that he. There was an interview I saw the other day, and somebody sent me this, and I thought, what a great interview. And he was talking to this chat show host, and this is before he was the president. This is when he was in business, right?
Yeah.
And he said, I was with this beautiful girl, and we're walking down the, I think it was Park Avenue in New York, right? So we're walking down Park Avenue. She's on my arm, and she's thinking, yes, I'm with a rich bloke. And then he saw a beggar walking down the road, and he said, see that beggar? He said, he is 900 million. Sorry, he's richer than me, right? And she was like, what are you talking about? You've got everything. He goes, I'm minus $900 million. That's what I fucking owe, right?
Yeah.
So he's better off than me. He's got nothing, but he's better off than me because I'm fucked because I've got this. And then they said to him, well, how did you get out of it? And he said, I believed in myself. And even though I was sick, most people who had that amount of debt would just throw themselves off a building.
Yeah.
Or and go, get me out of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm done, right? Yeah. But he was like, I'm in this hole. How do I get out of it? I believe in myself. And now he's worth a couple of bill. He's the president of the United States twice. Probably the first time in history that's ever been done. Yeah. So you kind of think, whether you love him or hate him, you've got to give him a fucking round of applause. And that's how he combated it.
I wouldn't mind him over here, would you?
Well, do you know what? I think he'd probably do a better job than Keir Starmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the problem with the Labour government is there's a lot of them in the cabinet, and obviously some of them have got these kind of weird sort of ideas where, they're not pro-business. They just go like, we've got a problem here. How do we do it? And there's certain things that they can't touch. Like, we can't fuck around with the NHS. We can't fuck around with this. We've got to just basically give all this money away. A friend of mine, who I can't mention, right, but he's a multi-billionaire.
Right.
He was very close to Tony Blair. Okay. And they actually went to him and said, we need to fix the NHS because it's fucking costing billions.
Yeah.
And he went through it all and he went, there's my proposal. And the proposal was, at the moment, you've got all these NHS trusts throughout the country and they're all buying paper clips from different people, lights from different people. They got an electrical company they've got 50 different, so you've got to centralise it, right? So you only have one place buying the paper clips, one place buying the lights, one place booking the fucking plumbers and electricians. He went through it. There was people charging £1,500 to change a fucking light bulb. He said, this is a fucking scam. He said, these cunts that are running these things are like literally paying their mates off, I'll do that, and getting a fucking drink, right? So he said, this is what's happening. Well, we can't do anything with the NHS, you know, because that's, we can't fuck around with that. But you know, anybody with a brain would have gone, do you know what, this is a fucking problem. Do you know what I mean? And if you centralise it, okay, a few people, you know, lose their jobs and you know, because they're not buying for that thing. Yeah. But you know, if you run a business, you have to run it like, but with our business, you know, we don't employ fucking 100 people because why would we? Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Why would you want that overhead? So, you know, if you've got a massive, I mean, I think that the NHS, 277 billion a year. So you think, you know, that's going to carry on growing, and they keep saying it's broken and we need more money. So somebody's got to go into the NHS and go, right, okay, how do we fix this? We've got to fucking fire people. We've got to stop wasting money on shit. I mean, there was all this stuff on the, you know, talking to people about chest feeding and all this woke and diversity stuff. And you sort of think, if I'm a man and I go into a hospital and I'm, you know, I don't feel very well, and someone asks me if I'm chest feeding, I'd just laugh. I just think, what are you talking about? Yeah. But this is a serious thing. And they're, you know, they're wasting money on all this stuff and they're overspending on other stuff. And look, if you was in America or you was in Spain and you got run over, as soon as they come to fucking pick you up, they go, you got your credit card, mate? No. All right, we'll fucking die on the road then. That's how bad it is, right? If you ain't paying, fuck you. And you sort of think, you know, the people that can't afford to use the NHS, you know, they should have that free medical care. But anybody who pays for their own medical care should get some sort of tax incentive. And for the people that can afford to pay for it, they should pay for it. Because if someone said to you, I've got a fucking neck ache, I'll go to A&E. Right, you go to A&E, there's like fucking 500 people in there, and there's a 6-hour wait. Yeah. If you had to pay, you got a neck ache, you go, fuck it. I ain't paying 40 quid to go and fucking sit there. No. Do you know what I mean? So there is a way of, and you know, if I've been in these things when I've gone in, and there's fucking 300 people, it was a 6-hour wait, you know, and they're sort of, well, you look really fucked up. We'll see you now, but you look all right. You can just sit there, and you sort of think it needs to be fixed. But you know, when you fix anything, you have to make some noise and you have to rattle a few cages. But
my daughter was in for obviously you know my story in terms of losing my wife, and she goes through really bad times. And she was my partner took her in self-harming, 8 hours.
Wow.
She sat there. So it was a tough one to swallow, that, because the girl was injured as such, but she was clearly in a really, really bad place as well. And it does put a bad taste in your mouth, but we're a long way from fixing it. You
know? But that's what I'm saying. If you're going to fix stuff, you literally have to be mercenary about it. You have to literally walk in there and go, "What's wrong with this?"
Agreed.
And look, you know, if you upset a few people, you upset a few people. But you know, it's for the greater good. You know, because you know, the taxes aren't going to go down, right? You know, everything's going to keep going up. Everything's going to become more unbearable. So somebody has to make those tough decisions, and the reason we elect people into Parliament is to make it, because we don't want to make them decisions. They're meant to be the experts. So it's like, you know, you need to fix this. You wanted to fucking be the Prime Minister. You wanted to be in this job, so you've got to now fix it.
And we spoke about Trump, and you know, all right, like you say, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but fuck me, does he get stuff done? And he tends to get it wrong.
Well, if you look at the President of China, President of Russia, Trump, you know, you look at the UAE rulers, you look at the Saudi ruler, you know, if you put these guys all around the table, they're all the fucking same. They get shit done. Do you know what I mean? And they literally go, this is what we're fucking doing. And that's what it is. You know, you know, there's all this stuff at the moment where people are getting upset about people putting flags up and different things. Yeah. And you sort of think, you know, if you went to Saudi Arabia and you started taking their flags down, saying you found it offensive, do you think they'd go, yeah, it's absolutely fine?
Yeah, crack on, yeah.
I mean, you know, do you know what I mean? It's same in Russia, same in America. You know, you sort of think, it's just bizarre that we've got all this, and it is just bollocks.
It is.
Right? If you want to put your flag up, I don't care what flag it is. Yeah. If you want to fly your flag, fucking fly your flag. It don't affect me. Exactly. But people are getting upset about it. It's just
it is. you run a podcast, obviously the Criminal Connection,
Yeah.
which I'm a huge fan of, watch it regular. How does it affect you, Terry, when you're doing your podcast? Does it have a mental sort of strain on you? Because you talk to some pretty dark characters.
Do you know what? I know this is weird, but I've always found things funny. Like, so when I watch films that are fucking horrible, like if I watched a gangster film, like Scarface, when he gets a chainsaw and he chops the geezers, he's got the geezer in the shit. I laugh, and my wife always says to me, she says, "There's nothing funny about this," and I just say, "I know." But I said, that's how I cope with it. So it's the same with life. You have to laugh at life, right? Whatever you get dealt. And for me, if someone says to me, I've done these terrible things, I might make a joke. I might laugh about it. I might just think, fuck me, what a fucking mad thing. But it doesn't affect me because I laugh about it. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's just like, if you said to me, I went down the road today and I bought a new car, or I went down the road and I shot someone in the face, it's a normal conversation. I wouldn't go, oh, fucking hell, wow, why are you telling me that? I'd just be like, oh, right, okay. Well, if that's your thing, it's your thing.
It's a great way of looking.
But I mean, look, there are some people that I've interviewed, and I've actually thought, fucking hell, I'm glad I'm friends with you. And I'm glad that I didn't know you back then. But yeah, most people, at the heart of it, people like people. And I think if you're, people that I've met, all they see me that I've come from nothing and I've actually worked hard, and everything I've got, I've done off my own back. No one's given me any handouts, and I'm one of the boys. And I think people, I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I'm just Terry. You know what I mean? Terry from the block.
Terry from the back. Look, I mean, like I say, thanks so much for your time. It's been like I say, I've been absolutely knocked off my feet, to be fair, man. They agreed to do this for me. And
no, listen, mate. I've
really enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed it as well. It's been a laugh. But please don't send me any more naked pictures.
They're coming more regular now, mate. Don't worry about that. Quick question. For anyone listening who's navigating like their own life after, again, just sort of, where am I going? What am I doing? Biggest piece of advice. You've already said, obviously, you got to work hard and stuff.
Yeah.
But is there anything else?
I mean, I think, when going back to the boxing, when I was at a boxing club, there was a sign above the ring and it said, winners never quit, quitters never win. And that's always been my motto. And the thing is, it's easy to give up. It's easy to say, like, you're running down the road, you're out of breath. Oh, fucking, I'll stop. I'm out of breath.
Yeah.
Push through it. Do you know what I mean? Push through it. Don't give up. Why would you want to give up? It's like you set up a business, it's not working out, and you just go, there's points in life when you do have to give up, right? So but you've got to know when to quit. That's the important thing. But the thing is, it's very easy to quit before you get started. And that was, I think whatever you do, when I first started doing my podcast, the guy said, it's a long fucking journey. You might only get 100 views when you do your first podcast. You might only get 10 subscribers. It's not easy. It's fucking hard because you've got billions of people all trying to fucking put their shit on YouTube or on Apple and Spotify, and everyone thinks, oh, we just get a microphone and a camera and we'll do a podcast. It's really easy. But there's so much that goes into it. Yeah. But we've been doing it. We're 2 years this Sunday. So that's how old we are, 2 years. And it's not got any easier. It's, if anything, it's got more intense. But I enjoy it. It's fun. It's like if I'm making a movie, it's fun. If I'm acting in a film, it's fun. If I'm doing a podcast, it's fun. If I'm doing a public appearance, it's fun. So all the stuff I'm doing, I'm enjoying. And I think that is also really important because why would you do something you don't like? You might have to do some stuff you fucking hate to get the money to then be able to say, okay, like say you want to set your own business up, right? Mm-hmm. And you got no money, right? Do fucking 2 or 3 shit jobs. Go and work in a checkout, go and stack some shelves, go and clean the fucking toilets, do whatever you can to get that money. Once you got that money, you go, right, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to fucking focus on this. So, that excuse where, I haven't got the money, I can't do it. You can, but you just got to be prepared to work. You got to be prepared to just make sacrifices and do shit that other people, because I know people that will not do stuff.
Yeah.
Go and do that. I'm not doing that. Why not? Well, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Do you not want any money? No, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to wait for something I do want to do to come along.
Well, if I'd have sent you pictures with clothes on, we wouldn't be saying how.
That's true. What I mean? That's true. I'd have been like, Bill, you know,
God loves
you've got to work harder. You've got to work harder. But no, that's what I think. Yeah. And look, some people might say I'm wrong, but I think, you know, you've got to be prepared to go the extra mile. You know,
Agreed.
If you look at anybody who's in the special forces, anybody who's achieved anything in their lives, they've all got the same thing. They don't give up. They're resilient. They're tenacious. They keep going. They just keep going. They just keep going. And if they fall over, they get up. I think Rocky said it in one of his films. It's not about how many times you get hit.
Yeah.
It's about how many times you get up when you're knocked down and you keep going. You know what I mean? And he's bang on, Sylvester Stallone. And what I love about his story is he wrote that script. And, you know, he was a, you know, if you look at him and you're brutally honest, you know, we're spoken very much like that. And you just thought, you know, this guy, and you can imagine him going into these Hollywood film studios going, I want to play the lead role. And they're like, mate, you haven't fucking been in anything. Yeah. You can't even speak properly. Yeah. But he was like, I'm fucking doing this. And I believe in it. I believe that I'm going to deliver that. And I believe I'm going to be a star.
Watch them films again and again.
But the thing is,
are all wicked.
his life is in that script. When he talks about getting hit and getting up and keep coming on, it's about his life. And when you actually, that's why Rocky was such a profound movie. Yeah. And he was like selling his cat. I think he was down to like his last fucking $10. He was fucked, right? And they were offering him, we'll give you $500,000 for your script. And he was going, fuck you. I'm only going to do it if I can play that role. And then one day someone went, all right, fucking slide, you can do it, right?
Yeah.
And he did it. And, you know, the way he spoke, it was like he was punchy, right? So it worked, right? And that won a fucking Oscar, right? And if you'd have said those 10 years when he was fucking around trying to get it off, this guy is going to have one of the biggest fucking films in the world. He's going to have a franchise. He's going to win an Oscar. You go, not in a million years. Fucking, I bet me house on it. Nothing happens with that. But because he believed in it and he didn't give up, he did it. And then obviously he got a dialect coach. And then obviously he still played punching when he was doing Rocky. But then when he did other stuff, he obviously started doing accents. He started doing different films. I don't assume,
but I'm not thinking he's covered in qualifications either. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? I don't know, but that guy, you know, he is a phenomenon. He's a phenomenal actor, and he's a phenomenal person because what he's achieved. Most people, again, he's an underdog. He was a guy in New York living in a fucking flat somewhere. You know, with this Rocky movie that he wrote, that he thought, I want to do this Rocky movie, and everyone thought I bet his mates were like, you're fucking nuts. Yeah, but he didn't listen to the bullshit. He just went, fuck you, I'm doing it. And even when people are going, if you was on your ass and someone's going, here's $500,000 for your piece of paper, and you're going, no, fuck you, I'm playing that part, I'm not doing it. You know, imagine how much belief and how hard it must be for him. He's got $10 in his pocket and he's fucking probably eating beans on toast every night and he's fucked. He can't even do anything.
But that's an interesting point. So in terms of having the ability to only allow the positive, because some people have been saying, you've got something there, don't give in, you've got something there. And then you'll have had...
But he was saying it to himself. Exactly. In his head, his mates were all going, you're a fucking idiot, take the money. And in his head, he's going, fuck the money, I'm doing this role. I know this is going to make me as an actor. So not only did he believe in himself as a writer, as a director, as an actor, he believed it was going to happen. And the thing is, it might have took 10, it might be 15 years. I don't know the timescale. But he never gave up. And he believed in himself. And he's achieved greatness. I mean, he's fucking nearly 80 and he's fucking still smashing it now.
Yeah, he is. On acting, what's next for you?
I'm doing a film called Tales from the Trap.
Called?
Tales from the Trap.
Okay.
And there's a rumour that I could be doing something next year, which will make lots of people very happy. But I can't talk about it yet because it hasn't been confirmed. But I've had a call.
Yeah.
And I think it'll make a lot of people very happy.
Intriguing.
Riddle me this, riddle me that.
Great way to finish. Terry, thanks again.
Thanks.
It's been great. Really enjoyed it. And really.
Nice one, Robert.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Nice.
Cheers.